Danbury, Connecticut's own driver of the number 39 SK Light modified at Stafford Speedway and 2023 Stafford SK Light champion. We're joined by George Bessette on the phone. George, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure to have you here. So an eventful couple of weeks here for you recently, and we'll get into that. First question I always like to ask our guests is, how'd you get the racing bug? How'd you get involved?
Oh, it goes way back 40 years ago before I was even a thought. You know, my dad and his buddies, you know, they were doing truck pulls at first, and that got too crazy, and they had to do a little bit of a cheaper option for them back in the day. You know, they were only 18, 19 years old, so they went to Riverside Park and found street stock racing and built a car, and the rest is history.
So you just won the SK championship at Stafford, which is cool. First off, Stafford made a lot of improvements this past year. What was it like racing with these improvements, and what is it like to run at Stafford?
Stafford's just top notch. I mean, they go above and beyond for us as racers and you guys as fans and racers alike. I mean, they do anything and everything possible to make the racing experience better for us, you know, with the safer barriers and the walls and, you know, the fans with the big screen and even just those walls, and it just makes the track look awesome. And, you know, we were there for SRX night, and just the track looked unbelievable. The lawn looked good. Like, the place was packed. The environment was, like, energized and lively. It was great just to be there, even as a spectator. It's just super cool to see a small track in Connecticut, you know, wanting to be the top, you know, short track in the country. And it really is up there with the best. I think, personally, I think Stafford's right up there with Martinsville and all them places right now. So it's awesome to see them expanding and growing. And, you know, both the Root boys are putting in, you know, all the hard work to, you know, keep this legacy going as, you know, their father and his dad did themselves.
So, George, talking about the, you know, you run the SK Light and you're also running the Tour-type modifieds now a little bit. And obviously I'm going to tackle the elephant in the room first, talking about what happened down in Thompson.
Yep.
So, you know, I'll feed the audience a little bit. So George was racing down in the Tour-type modified race, and he got tangled up with another competitor. Kind of looked like a racing deal to me. I don't know how many saw it. And then afterwards there was a, you know, big brawl erupted because, you know, people were upset. And what was your perspective on that? You know, like kind of what happened, like kind of, you know, like we talked about, it was like a racing deal, and then it just kind of exploded. And, you know, how do you handle that, and how do you, you know, keep the positive energy up and keep wanting the race too? Cause it's kind of a, you know, a raw deal, I think.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's a sensitive topic for a lot of people right now. And like, you know, just, I think it was a big racing deal. I mean, we're racing for $10,000 to win, and granted, nobody wants to wreck or nobody wants to tear up equipment, and I think it was just super hard racing. I wasn't giving him any room, he wasn't giving me any room, and we just tangled. And unfortunately, for his point of view, he got the shorter end of the stick, and I can totally understand him being mad and, you know, and everything. And unfortunately, we ran out of fuel, so we had to come in and that was it for our night because we couldn't refuel. But you know, it was just a super hard racing, and then, you know, it escalated to the point where I really didn't think it would have. You know, I was expecting to get out and exchange some words, and that'd be the end of it, and then we go our separate ways. But, you know, it is what it is. It happened. You know, really don't need that for the, you know, the short track community, and hopefully we can look forward to the next race, and I'm excited to get back out there and just keep doing what I've been doing.
So the one thing about that really kind of won me over with the deal was the racing community in you know, they spoke. They said this isn't tolerated, and now, you know, that competitor's been banned from every sanctioning body and track I can think of right now. And the thing is like they kind of like the same thing like you're all about coming and racing with your family and everything else, and they kind of just said, hey, this is a family thing, in we're not going to allow this. So that's got to be kind of like the silver lining in the cloud for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was great to see such a positive impact. I mean, I knew it was going to be an impact on anything with the videos and stuff like that, and I knew, of course, something happens like that, and someone's going to pull their phone out and video it and post it online because it's the hot topic, and they want their name everywhere, and I get it, and it's no big deal, and it's just the outcome of the tracks responding and the sanctioning bodies responding, and to a problem that they don't really want or whatever. So, I mean, the way they did it is totally up to them. There was no force from any of us or anything. That's just them responding to a situation that they thought was the right way. And I have no opinion on what they do or anything. It's just, I don't want to get into a brawl over a racing deal that, I could totally understand being upset, and, just looking to move forward from it and just put my best foot forward, and we're feeling good again, all healed up, and a couple bumps and bruises, but I wasn't going to let it stop me from doing what I love. So,
yeah, last part I'll have on that is just racing's such a family deal, right? And you do it with your dad and your sister, and probably your mother, and everybody else goes too. And it's such a family deal, and I just applaud the tracks for kind of saying, hey, that's not what family entertainment's all about. And after all, we're all there to have a good time, right? And nothing's more exciting than driving your race car and trying to win. And hats off to you, because I think you handled it really well from my perspective, just outside looking in, and it kind of just really speaks to me of how great your family is in racing.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I was little and I started racing, my dad always said, he wouldn't jump in the car and be like, you go out there and do what you got to do, and I know you go get ththese guys and like kick their ass type thing. And he was super like, just go out there and do the best you can, and win, lose or draw, just go have fun. And that's been my mentality. Of course I want to win, but I also want to go there with the only pressure that's being put on me is myself. There's no outside pressure looking in, and that's just the way it's always been. And the whole racing, it's just, you got to think about it. I have every Friday night this year and years past, I got my mom, my dad, and my sister all together at the same place at the same time doing one thing that they enjoy doing. Unfortunately, a lot of families don't have that anymore. But I'm fortunate enough to have a family that really supports what I do and understands and, enjoys it as much as I do.
On a more positive note, George, for your Stafford championship, it was all stacked against you. You had to avoid a wreck, had brake issues, had radio issues. How do you stay dialed in and are able to compete for a championship when everything's stacked against you like that?
Yeah, I mean, all day I was nervous, super nervous, but I just kept telling myself it's just another Friday night, and what we got to do is we got to do the best we can and go out there, just like my dad says, just do the best you can and, have fun. So I went out there with the same mindset of it's a Friday night, and we just all I had to do was beat that 46 car, and, we avoided that wreck in the beginning, and it broke the hub. So my right front, fortunately, I had somebody looking down over me, and the hub or anything, and the rotor didn't bind up and lock the right front wheel up at all during the race, and I don't know how it didn't.
So you were driving that race with a broken hub, right front hub?
Broke a right front hub. It sheared. It sheared the rotor bolts right off the hub.
Oh wow. Man!
Wow.
Yeah. So I was freewheeling. It turned really good to the left with the right front brakes missing. But it would when I was going down the track, the rotor would wobble and it would push the pucks out on the caliper, so I'd have to pump the brake going down the back stretch and the front stretch to make sure that make sure the puck stayed closed. Otherwise, I'd have no brakes. So a couple times I'm sure people seen on floor racing where it looked like I drove it in like way over my head. I really wasn't trying to. I just had no brakes.
No brakes.
So I just was really trying to slow down. I was cranking front braking it just so the rear brake wouldn't take over, and it was a super insane night. My radio wouldn't work right. I was playing with it before we went out. It was stressing me out. My ear mold wasn't working, wasn't in my head right. It was just the gremlins were shaking everywhere. So, but we shook them off our back, man. I couldn't be happier with how the year turned out and everything. With the tough starts, and I mean, we started 37th in the 40-lap race, and I finished 4th. So, I mean, that's an achievement as itself to pass that many cars in one night. I think I passed like over 100 cars in a month.
That's incredible.
So it's pretty crazy.
What's it mean to be a champion?
It's a feeling that unfortunately, a certain few only really feel. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be able to do it at 15 years old in the street stock division at Stafford, and to do it in an SK Light at Stafford I have the same exact feeling. I mean, I walk into it as, I'm fortunate enough to be in a race car on Friday night with my family, and all these people are my supporters and sponsors, to be able to get in that car and do what I love. And I'm sure there's multiple people in the stands that could whip my butt. And, I'm just very fortunate to be able to do this. And so I'm very humbled by it. I don't take any of it for granted. I know there's guys out there. You guys know there's well over 40 cars there every week just trying to get a win. I have 4 this year, and a championship on top of it. And people dream about that. So I'm very humbled to say I'm 2023 SK Light champion.
Looking at the bigger picture coming up here over, let's say, I don't know, whether it be the 5-year, 10-year plan, what's on your list of things to do, your checklist, let's say? What do you want to get done? Where do you want to be?
I love the open racing, and that's what our plan is. I want to continue to do that, and if something pops up in a weekly division, SK ride or something, I'll definitely look into that too. But within long-term stuff, I want to be able to win some big shows and become better and race against the Ronnie Silks and the Justin Bonsignors, and maybe land a Wheel of Modified Tour ride at some point, or anything like that. Just to be able to win, maybe even the Sizzler. I want to win the big shows, like that, the money shows, the stuff that's really cool to have that trophy hanging up in your shop and knowing that you beat the best of the best. So the goal is to get better and be the wheel male I always wanted to be. So,
George, what about a fended cow, Oxford 250 or something like that?
Yeah, my dad ran the Oxford 250. He used to run, that was his thing, pro stocks, and he ran SKs for a couple years, but he ran a lot of pro stock even towards the end of the year. He won the Granite State race in 2013 at Thompson, the Icebreaker race, and he's won the Icebreaker in 99 with his car, and he's got a bunch of Thursday night wins and stuff like that when Thompson used to run Thursdays. So he's a Thompson guy, and that is a big track thing. So when he ran pro stocks there weekly, and I always said to him, I'd like to do that at one point, just to do it and say I raced I raced a street stock. I mean, that's fenders, but something like a super late model of pro stock at Thompson or Oxford 250, like you guys said, or Seaconk or something like that would be really cool.
Any folks or sponsors that you'd like to take advantage of mentioning and thanking tonight?
Yeah, I have a lot of sponsors, and I just can't thank them enough. F&M Electric, Roger Electric, Pertozzi Electric, Basque Roofing and Sheet Metal, my dad. I wouldn't be here without him. LaJoy Scrap Metal Recycling, thanks Don and all the boys down in Norwalk. Randy LaJoy for keeping me safe every week in my seats. Lee Sewer Plumbing and Heating, Northeast Carpet, Bones, Buddy down in Florida. I'm sure he's listening down in Florida, down in the Keys or wherever he is right now. He's a gem. We love him. Bud Wright, Kenwood East Marina, Heffron Heating and Cooling. George Bartlett Welding, he's been on board since Street Stocks. He's been a supporter and has been at every race I've been raced at. And my whole crew, I have unbelievable support and help from everybody. And the guys come Tuesdays and Thursday nights and bust their butts just like me, and I'm up late hours working on the car, and we have a good time. It's a part-time job, but we have fun, and the less of a job it is, the more fun you'll have. So if you enjoy yourself and put the effort in to show the results, it's good. We have a lot of fun. I wouldn't be here without any of my sponsors, so big shout out to them, and I can't wait for next year.
Excellent. And if people want to learn more about your racing career or follow you on the socials, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can look me up on Facebook. It's George the Pup Bessette Jr. on Facebook, and Instagram is Mad Dog Jr. Racing. And my personal account's just Mad Dog Jr. 39. If you guys want to hit that up too, we post pretty much as we can with things going on. We don't have a pack schedule, but when we have something coming up, a race coming up, we'll post about it, or a little bit of off season catch up for you guys. And we try to stay busy on the social media because everybody. I got fans from all over the place that like to stay involved, and that's one of the best ways we can reach out to them and take questions and everything. So if anybody has a question, feel free to direct message me. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions or send me something to sign or anything you guys need.
Driver of the 39 SK Light at Stafford Motor Speedway and 2023 champion down there in the SK Lights, George Bessette Jr. joining us here tonight on Miles on Motorsports to kick off the show, our In the Turn interview, Going Green segment.